That's Mr. Kaye's here in Charleston, South Carolina. I was just in there picking up some stuff. So let's see what I got. Greetings, y'all. Welcome to another episode. Here in like May or something put out a video that I was kind of quote unquote retiring and gonna ease up on doing these videos, but I feel like I've been doing them just as much as I used to. Of course, I'm down here in South Carolina working, and it's brought me to a lot of record stores and stuff, and so that's kind of played into why I've been doing a handful of videos lately. I thought I'd be taking a much longer break, but I'm not, so here we are. I went today to a place here in Charleston, in North Charleston, South Carolina, called Mr. Kaye's Used Books and Music, and lots and lots of books and lots of music. Hey, what do you know? But it was a pretty cool store. I looked through a lot of the book selections. See, that is the main focus of the place. It's certainly more of a used bookstore than it is used music, although they have a pretty nice collection of CDs for sale, used CDs for sale, lots of DVDs for sale as well. They had vinyl section, which was not too big. It was kind of a smaller selection, but there was some kind of interesting stuff in there. A lot of the used CDs I think were, for the most part, like around $5, which is reasonable. I think that's a decent price. But there were certain things that would, be like $9 or whatever, and just seemed a little, like maybe a little high on the high end. Vinyl, same thing, but even more so. There was some vinyl that I saw that, seemed priced about right, like maybe $8 seemed to be the average price for some used stuff, which isn't too bad. But there was some stuff that was like, it seemed like there was a lot of things that were like, $20 or $30 that I didn't really feel like they should be priced that high, but still a cool store, good, like I said, good selection, used books, lots of stuff to pick from there, and the staff were really friendly, pretty cool, very knowledgeable, and so it was a cool visit. I got a couple of things, so let's take a look. 1983, we got Randy Newman and Trouble in Paradise. Don't have any Randy Newman. This is the first Randy Newman record I've ever picked up. There are a couple of his songs that I like, one of which is on here called I Love LA. We all know that one. But I've never listened to any of his records through and through, and it's pretty interesting. I know he writes a lot sort of from like a character point of view. So it's kind of interesting. I feel like I need to spend a little bit more time with this one and just kind of really maybe get into the lyrics and pay more attention to the lyrics, but some good stuff on here. This is one of those West Germany like Target CDs. I don't know. I know people a lot of time mention these. I don't know if they're supposed to be worth more money or anything like that. I'm sure this isn't really worth anything more than a regular old used CD, but booklet's got all the lyrics in it, which again, like I said, he's kind of, his writing is kind of coming from this certain point of view, so it's kind of cool to have those to kind of maybe follow along with. Got a few guest performers on this. I think Don Henley, Bob Seger, Lindsey Buckingham, Christine McVie, Ricky Lee Jones is on here as well, and Paul Simon. He does like this duet with Paul Simon. That's actually pretty cool. I like that. And I Love LA is interesting because it's a song we're all really familiar with. A lot of the sports teams, including the Rams, play I Love LA like when they win a game at the end. And it's kind of interesting because like a lot of people have mentioned in the past that the song itself is kind of not really celebrating the city. It's kind of maybe being a little sarcastic in his love for the city. Although I think Randy Newman has never really gone on record as saying that's the case, but famously he does this kind of shouting out of these certain streets in Los Angeles. And at the time that he recorded this song, those streets were like, the worst streets in the city as far as gang violence is concerned and everything. But the funny thing is like we all know that song, and you think of it as it must have been a hit, but apparently it never cracked the Hot 100 back then. And I guess like a year later, in 1984, when the Olympics were in Los Angeles, I think Nike had like some kind of marketing or advertising that they used I Love LA for, and then suddenly that's when it kind of like took off. I mean, I think it still didn't chart, but that's when this song became like really well known, across the country, so to say, and probably saw the music video playing a lot more on TV and stuff. But pretty interesting, some of the tunes on here that I like besides I Love LA. The Blues, which is the duet with Paul Simon. Take Me Back, and There's a Party at My House was really good too. Like I said, I've only listened to this once, but those are the tracks that kind of caught my ear, but a lot of it I felt like was pretty interesting. So, look forward to diving into this one again. And from 1988, we have Randy Newman, hey, and Land of Dreams, my second album to purchase by Randy Newman. Again, I saw these two there, and they were both priced at $5 each, and I just seemed like, it'd be cool to pick them up just to kind of dive into his catalog a little bit. I was familiar with I Love LA, and on this album, I was familiar with It's Money That Matters, which was a single and did fairly well. I think on like the rock tracks chart and Billboard, it might have even got to #1. But I had that single back in the day whenever this came out, 88, and really liked that song. Mark Knopfler plays guitar on that, and it sort of, and it really, the tone of his guitar and his playing really stands out. I mean, just hearing it without knowing it's Mark Knopfler's on the record, you'll instantly connect them and know that that's him playing. There's a couple other guests on here as well. He's got Tom Petty and Mike Campbell. Also, Jeff Lynne is on here as well. I was reading that he, here's the receipt. He has a tendency, like I mentioned, always be kind of writing from this character's point of view. And on this record, a lot of people were saying, like the first couple of tracks, Dixie Flyer, New Orleans Win the War, and Four Eyes, they're kind of like the first time that he's writing sort of about himself from his point of view, taking something from his life, and as opposed to from just a character that he's created. And I was reading, people were saying, and those songs are really good, I like them, and people were saying that they kind of wish he continued down that path, because right after those 3 songs, he kind of goes back to, what he's known for, is writing songs from like a character point of view. So they were saying it would kind of be interesting if he had continued on that path, but he didn't, so what are you going to do? Some cool songs on here. Like I mentioned, Dixie Flyer, New Orleans Wins the War, Falling in Love is pretty good, Red Bandana, Something Special, and the track that you really just need to hear once just to believe and then probably never listen to again is Master Man and Baby J, which is like, him rapping, him kind of doing a hip-hop song, and it's not very good. I don't know that anybody would really want to hear that a second time, but it's just one of those kind of curiosities to check out. Randy Newman, MC Randy Ray, no, but Master Man and Baby J. It's a weird song, but yeah, cool pickup. Glad to have this one. 2015, we get Colleen Green and her third record, I Want to Grow Up. This is kind of a play on the Descendants album, I Don't Want to Grow Up. And what's interesting is her first record was called Milo Goes to Compton, another kind of tip of the hat to the Descendants, Milo Goes to College. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say she's a Descendants fan, which is cool. So it was $10 used, seemed kind of reasonable. The cover caught my eye. Something about it seemed very familiar. I'm not familiar with this record at all. I haven't really had a chance to listen to it. I listened to 1 or 2 tracks just to kind of check it out when I got home after the fact, but I just kind of this is like a blind purchase, completely just taking a chance on it. When I was in the store, I did look up real quick just to see like what kind of music it was. She's on Hardly Art, the record label, which I have a few records from some of the stuff that they put out, which I kind of like. So I'm kind of, maybe the first time I've ever bought a record slightly based on the label that the artist was on. But when I was looking online before I bought it, I saw, I think it was like Rob Sheffield, who writes for Rolling Stone, compared her to Juliana Hatfield and the Muffs, which sounded like, I like both of them a lot, especially the Muffs. So that sounded kind of like a positive thing. So again, that kind of sold me. I was like, let me take a chance on it, $10, not too bad. But again, I haven't had a chance to listen to this yet, but we'll see. Hopefully it was worth it. She does all these drawings for her albums. There's the lyrics and everything. And it's just black vinyl there. It'll be interesting to listen to and see what I think. I know she's got this is her third record. I think she's put out one or two after this. I think she just put out a new record last year in 2021. The two songs that I did hear from this are TV and Pay Attention. I really like TV. Pay Attention was pretty good too. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this one plays, I feel like I'm just repeating myself over and over again. But I'm looking forward to that one. And there I go again. So, like I mentioned, lots of used books here. So I was looking through, just seeing if there was anything worthwhile. I don't really buy a lot of books these days. A lot of times I'll just get stuff from the library and read it. So I'm not really collecting books anymore, but I was looking through the section, like music section and everything, which was, placed right over by all the CDs and records, which was smart on their part. And I was looking through, just whatever, same old stuff, just kind of killing some time. And then I saw something that caught my eye, and I thumbed through it a little bit. It was only $5, so I decided to pick it up. And that is My Damage by Keith Morris, who we all know from Black Flag, and then probably even more so from the Circle Jerks. This is his autobiography he wrote with Jim Rowland. And, I just kind of flipped it open, and I was reading one little passage about him smoking crack with David Lee Roth, and I was like, sold, I'm buying, I'll read this, But I like him. He's an interesting dude to listen to. I like the Circle Jerks. I'm not a huge fan, but I do like them, and I certainly like the whole scene he came from, that Southern California punk scene, so I'm sure there's a lot of interesting tales about some of those characters from some of those bands that I love so much. So, I decided to pick it up. I'm looking forward to reading. I started reading it. It's pretty good so far, but I'm not really that far into it. So, it's cool. Pick up, little addition, little side note to the old music collection here. But that's it. That is what I picked up at Mr. Kaye's Used Books and Music. And if you're down in the Charleston area, you should check them out. It's a chain, so there's a couple other ones. I don't know where they are. I think they're all in South Carolina area. Maybe there's something in North Carolina. But really cool shop, worth checking out. Like I said, the prices, they kind of fluctuate. I'm not saying that they're terrible or anything like that. I just think there's some stuff that's priced perfectly, seems spot on. There's some stuff that's maybe a little bit on the high end, but cool place, great staff. Check them out when you get down that area. And that's it for this time. We'll see you next time.